Samsung may launch their own crypto exchange platform in 2023. So 7S Korean brokerage plans to start crypto exchange next year. Authorities in the country have trending towards strict oversight since Terra USD collapse. So I actually want to toss this over to Will for your thoughts on this. If we have strict regulatory oversight in a particular region, how could a big brand like Samsung possibly launch this?
I think that's exactly why they would be able to launch this, right? The more that there's regulatory clarity, the more willingness that a large established firm is going to have to get into a new market like this. For the most part, a lot of these big exchanges have not wanted to touch crypto, and it's because it is very unclear what is crypto in the first place. You know what Bitcoin is, basically know what Ethereum is at this point. All these other tokens, not really sure. What's an NFT? How do we even regulate that at all? So these huge exchanges have not want to touch this, and these huge corporations also have not want to do this. That's what makes the last year or so really interesting, right? We see corporations and institutions come into crypto in a meaningful way, and this Samsung partnership seems to be in a similar vein. Notably, Samsung has actually been involved in crypto in a few different ways. They make a lot of the chips that are used in mining machines, or they make a lot of the software stuff that's used for wallets. I think some of their actual cell phones have had wallet integrations in the past, but they haven't had an exchange. That's a completely different product. And like this article talks about, Samsung actually is one of the largest investment firms in the country. And so for them to get from investing into the exchange side is a pretty normal leap that we see a lot of teams take. They just weren't able to do it last year because there wasn't a lot of talent on the market. A lot of other people were just picking up tech devs wherever they could, and Samsung had to wait until the bear market to do that. So if you're looking for a job, you got technical jobs, maybe move to South Korea and pick up with Samsung. Jen, I'll throw it over to you.
Okay, so I lived in Korea for a year and a half, and because of that, I've coined myself the expert on Korean news on this show. And so I think this story is really, really interesting, right? So if we look at the South Koreans, they are a very proud people and culturally very proud, right? And this is a result of the Korean War. So many Koreans who are currently living in South Korea lived through the Korean War. It only finished in 1953. And because of that, they fly the Korean brand flag very loud and proud. So Samsung in Korea is not like Samsung anywhere else. They make cars, they have hospitals, they have theme parks, they obviously have the in-home appliances, they have insurance, hotels, billboards. And so for them to get into crypto exchanges, I think is a really interesting play and would be that push that would get that mainstream adoption that we talk about so much. On the other hand of things, Korean business and corruption kind of go hand in hand, and that's also a fallout of the Korean War. So this month we learned that Samsung heir Lee Jae-young, who was convicted of bribery and embezzlement in 2017, was granted a special presidential pardon because South Korea's government says they need him back at the helm of Samsung to spearhead economic recovery. So in Korea, they have this term for big business. It has something to do with octopuses because big Korean business have their tentacles kind of squirmed into a lot of the politics that are happening there. I just don't know, with so much corruption happening between Samsung and politicians in the country, is this who we want to forge forward when we talk about regulation and innovation in crypto? I think it could end up backfiring. But Zach, what do you think?
Could end up not coming to pass at all, right? This is based on local reports. So this is definitely not Samsung getting out there and saying, hey, we're doing this thing. This is reported through the rumor mill as it stands right now. Credit to the reporting. Let's hope it is sound. But just a note on what we know and how we know it. Whether or not Samsung ultimately becomes one of the big firms offering this service in South Korea is still to be determined.